Okay, so my background and the green gold from Daniel Smith that I put on here has dried, so I can just give my branch the first cover. And I just wanted to point out that this is a second piece that I'm doing, and here is the original one that I worked on and that I'm going to continue doing the demo on. I've already filmed that, but I missed the point where I put that first coat of paint on, and I didn't want to skip that in my demo. So here's a great example where you can see that here, because I was impatient, I started putting the green gold on while the background was quite a bit wetter than what I ended up doing here in the piece that I finished. So that's just something for you to keep in mind. Do have a little patience and let the background get to the point where all the shine has gone off the background that you painted in with the cobalt blue and a little bit of the burnt sienna, and then start dabbing in the green gold and let it fuss out, but not fuss out that much. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm sure I can make this into a nice painting also, but it's a good little learning opportunity. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I already have my puddle here of French Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and that's going to be, and I also have some burnt sienna and some French Ultramarine blue out here, and that's going to be the color of the branch. And I'm just going to get some water on the inside, and I'm going to skip the ends for now. So here, a little bit of water on. See, can you see the shine? I don't know if you can. And then I'm dipping into here my area where I have a little of both. I don't like to mix myself just one kind of brown, dark brown color from these two colors. I like to be able to go from the blue to the burnt sienna and back. And I'm going to start at the bottom. And I'm not going to do it particularly dark to start out with. It's almost darker than what I wanted. Because I can build up the darks later. I want to put a little bit more water on my brush. And then here. And I put the water in, and then here I want to be, it's where some of that moss is also attaching. I might even take my little dot bottle and just see if I can dot in a little bit here to fuss out that edge there. And then I'm going to continue, and the reason I'm starting at the bottom of the branch is the bottom of the branch is going to be darker. That I know. So I'm going to put that color down here, and you can see how you get a nice variety of color. And I might even just go in and do a little bit like this already. Just dab in a little bit, just give it a little bit more of that lazy feeling. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. Dabbed in a little bit of that combination of French Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna on. And then I'm going to put a little bit more in here. I'm going to take some of the pigment out of my brush and just going to get the whole branch painted. And here I'll do a little bit of that same idea. To dab in a couple of places so it gets nice raggedy end, and then I already put a little bit of the green on a couple of those spots on the branch where there's some moss, and go here, and again I'm just going to go around like this, and there's a little nod here. I'm going to paint around, and I'm doing the same thing. I left a little bit of green there. Nod. And here again, some little bit of uneven, and then it goes up on this one and out here. And just, here's some more of that green I deposited. So here is that first go around, and now while the trunk is still damp, I'm going to go in and get some of my green gold from over here on my dagger brush. Make sure it's not too wet, and just dab in here a little bit so it can get a little bit of a feel of that moss that's on the branch like that. Okay, do a little bit here too, and a little bit here. Could actually do a little bit here too. All right, so there is the first go around of color on the branch, and as you can see, I left the ends unpainted for now because I want to have a little bit of a definition. And then before it dries on me, you can see here the shine is already gone. Here it's very wet still. But I'm going to grab my credit card, and you know I cut my credit cards like this on an angle, so I have a pointy end, I have 2 of the rounded corners, and then I have 3 sides. I never use this one, or at least I haven't so far. Maybe I'll come up with something. So I think it'd be kind of nice if I can scrape in a little bit of some markings on the branch before it dries on me, and I'm going to use the rounded corner, and I'm also going to use like the pointed, so I get some thicker and some thinner little ridges, and that's already helping the branch get a little character. So see if I can scrape out a couple of highlights here, and this one goes like this. I have to go in and define that a little bit more later, but this is the first go around on the branch, and we'll have to let that dry and then we can continue. All right, so we got the branch painted with the first coat of French Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna mixture, and now I'm going to go in while it's still a little bit damp, not super damp, but a little bit. So I think I can go in and kind of strengthen the color a little bit here underneath. And try to give it a little bit more shape. And there, a little bit there. And I also want to run in a little bit of pigment while it's still slightly damp. So I get a little bit of a fuzzy edge here and there. And I'm going to put a little bit of darkness behind these little clumps of the green gold that I put in. Rinse out my brush. My brush is just damp. Just want to see if I can kind of bring that out a little bit more by doing that. There's that. There. And let's take a look. Then I think, where's my light coming from? Let's decide that. I think I want my light to come from this side. So these ragged edges here, they'll be super dark. So that means mainly cobalt, French Ultramarine blue, and then grayed down with some burnt sienna. And I think I'll put it in now. A little bit more burnt sienna. And it's going to be super dark down here too because it's broken off. And so See, it's almost black, this color that I got. Then I'll have it a little lighter here on the top part of it. Just uneven edges is what I'm after. And then this guy here that's sticking up, that'll also be really dark and probably cast a little bit of a shadow down here. Do that, and then I'm going to take some burnt sienna on for the front side of it. And just let it kind of mix in. Alright, and then here I'm going to use a cobalt blue with burnt sienna. That's going to be more grayish light because this one gets a little bit of the light, so we won't make it too dark. Rinse it out, and it's kind of grayish color. And then underneath here it will be darker, so then we go into the dark mix. And darker here, the edge, make that a little darker. Rinse out, and then I'm going to combine these two. Step one. So then we have pretty much everything painted. So I also want to put a little bit, just a lighter color on the top of these little knots here, or these little, broken off branches. They will be a little lighter because they're catching the light. Lifting out a little bit. And I can go in and darken here again a little bit. This way. And just like that. And this side of this little knot here will also, it'll be darker here for sure. And just loose the edge a little bit. It will be a little lighter like there. The front will be, so it'll be a little darker behind also. So let's just get that in. There, now you can see it. Couldn't really see it earlier. And just make sure we get nice organic shapes here. There. Now I think it's more visible that there's a knot there. And there's that. I have to wait for that to dry, and then I have to work a little bit. I think I might have to lift out a little bit, create a light edge there. And then here on this end, go in with a little bit of a darker color while it's still damp. Can you see how it kind of flows out a little bit? And so I'm going to go in and make some of these. There's some little markings. There's still a little bit left. It's ragged, but there's a little bit left of those rings that are, and the same here actually. Just give a little hint of it. And here it's so dark we can't see. And there. A little bit darkness underneath here could be nice. Same here. And then here it could still be darker on this side. I'm just kind of casting a shadow, and this could be a little dark on this side. There. All right. I'm gonna let it dry and then reevaluate. All right. I have let this dry, and now I have to just fine tune it a little bit, and then I'm going to call it a day. So first I'm going to put in a little bit more dark a couple of places. So just going to bring this one out a little bit more, this little thing, by putting a little bit of dark behind it. Going to bring it out like that, and then I'm going to lose the edge and drag that in like that. That way it stands out a little bit more. And maybe also get the edge of it. I need some more burnt sienna. So I'm going to get that. It's here. Get that over here, and some of the blue French ultramarine in. So let's see. I want it just a little bit right there. I'm going to grab another brush and loose that edge a little bit. Just, I want to have a difference between the top and the side of that knot there. And what else? Then here I want to make these edges a little bit more raggedy. So just going in with a little darkness, and then again I'm going to just kind of pull it out. And I'm actually thinking maybe here, just if we go back and forth a little bit out on the tip here, I think they might catch a little bit of light, this tip here. So I'm just going to gently lift out a little bit. You see that? That thing. And here I have something funky going on. I have a light area, and maybe I could take advantage of that and bring it out more by putting something dark around it. So just again blend it out there. So I'm just trying to give it a little bit more texture and a little bit more interest. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best, and hopefully you have a little fun. And you know what, I think I already said that, but this one, it's an experiment. I haven't painted this before. It's just something, you know, that I thought about when I was out there walking, and thought that'd be kind of fun to try and see if I could utilize that green gold for something like this. It's a funky shape here that I want to get rid of there. All right, so I think we're getting close to the final stages. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you so you can see a little bit better. Now I'm just going, I need to put some shadow underneath for sure. And then I do feel that I need to put in a few more dark areas, a little darkness. So I'm going to go and create myself a little bit more of that very dark color with the French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and not too much water. And I'm using my dagger brush now. Of course, it has that nice tip, you know, that nice pointy tip that can create some texture. So here I want to put in a little bit more kind of indications of whatever, a little bit of those rings that are left here. just like that. And probably feel like I want to put in a little bit more right on that edge there. Loose it a little bit. There. I think that's good. Here, maybe also darken a little bit. And there could also be a little bit of a more of a texture on this little guy. There. Brought that out a little bit more. And then we have to go in. I don't know if I can do it. If I can kind of push in here a little bit to indicate a little bit more of that moss here on the shadow side. Just kind of push in a little bit of a dark color. I think that'll push it out a little bit more, make it a little bit more mossy looking. And just dab in a little bit like that. And here I see the same. There's just a little tiny mossy area there. And again, I want to not have the lines too hard. There. It's just a little indication. A little bit up here. Just barely touch in. And again, you know, I'm experimenting, so I don't really know what's going to work and what's not going to work, but I think this is going to work. Just loosen a little bit of the edges there. There. And then the same here. A little bit more. And here we can also go a little bit of that darkness in. Barely touching. And loose the edges. Just to give it a little bit more dimension. I think that's pretty okay, like that. And the same here. This bottom part. And I still have this one. I don't like this little area very much. So I'm just trying to, there, I think that's better. Yeah, I think that's better. Drag it out like that. Okay. I still need to emphasize here a little bit more. Here, behind this little nod, I need to bring it out by putting something dark behind it. There. Yeah, I think that's better. Dab in a little bit more dark. There. Let's see. Okay. Got a pretty good edge there. That I'm happy with. I think I can darken a little bit underneath, right underneath here. There. And then light was coming from here. So we want to put some shadow color on. So I'm going to go with dark gray. So that's French ultramarine blue. And a little bit of the burnt sienna. And you just got to pick up right underneath the branch here. get a chance to give this mossy area a little bit more definition. There. And cast shadows. They're darkest right underneath the subject that's casting them, and then they kind of get lighter. So I'm just trying to build up really dark right underneath here. And then I'm going to take my number 14 damp brush, and then I'm going to just kind of do like this to make that shadow a little bit lighter as we go out of the picture. Darken a little bit more here, right underneath, and here, and here. Let's see, yeah. I want to just, there's that. Darker there. Just fine-tuning the edge here. Put a little darkness right underneath again. Okay. I don't think I'm going to mess around with this much more. The only thing that I'm not super duper happy with is this. It's too hard edged. So I'm going to fuss out some of the edges here on this one. There. I think that's better. Okay. There we have it. I'm going to call that a day. There. Hope you have a little fun with that. And I'll see you in another YouTube video. Happy painting!